here. So we're a little late. I know we said 3:30, but here it is. Our shoot ran a little bit long. That's what happens.
Totally. And we were having such a good time.
Yes.
We had such a great time. This client was so lovely, like in both beautiful and also in spirit. And
so stylish.
So stylish. So stylish.
Yeah, love
so
all
stylish.
of her clothes.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. I'm Melissa Hoffman. I'm a makeup artist, and I'm also a success coach for makeup artists.
Yes, and I'm Wendy Yalom. I'm a photographer, and I also mentor photographers.
Yeah, and we've been working together for, I think, 5 years, or
is it at least?
Yeah.
I feel like our first shoot was together in like 2013.
Something like that.
So like 7 years ago.
Yeah, 7 years. Yeah. It's been, an incredible journey, and we've got to travel together. We've gone to Paris and Florence, and then, of course, all over the United States.
LA.
Miami.
Colorado.
Yes.
Such amazing places.
So I'm so thankful to call Wendy a friend and also a colleague, collaborator, and all of that. And also a mentor. I've learned so much from you too about business and photography and just everything. So
Thank you. I love that. It's so amazing to get to have somebody who you get to work with, that you love being with.
Yes.
And especially when you're doing things like spending
the whole
2 weeks
2
together
weeks
in Paris.
together.
Or something, it's like, and having just the joy of that. And also just really having someone that you can trust.
Yes.
So that
so
you
important.
just get that, like, for me, when I'm on a shoot, like today, it's so fun to like go in, Melissa starts doing hair and makeup, and to just feel like I can just step away and know that the client's totally being taken care of. You're such a pro.
Yeah. And then on the same side as a makeup artist, just knowing like how much you appreciate my art and what I do, and like treat me, as like an equal on these shoots rather than somebody that like do this, do that, So I so appreciate that. Makeup artists, can you relate? I'm sure you've had that happen before.
I think I've heard that, where you become kind of like the surrogate assistant for the shoot.
Yeah. So it's so nice to be able to like have that kind of partnership and collaboration.
Totally. And photographers that are watching, one of the things that is so important for me is not only is Melissa amazing just in terms of her talent and skill as a hair and makeup artist, but she just has that energy that like puts the client at ease, makes them feel just like everything's gonna be okay, makes them feel so taken care of. I think it is that is as important as you knowing how, because that's the time where their nerves are up, they don't know how it's going to go, and it can feel like you're an ally.
Yeah, and they need that too. And that was one of the things I talked about in my live stream training that I did a couple weeks ago, was creating that client experience and making sure that the client like felt taken care of and pampered, and that's part of the whole experience, and also part of like what you become known for in your branding, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Yes. I love that this is the perfect segue.
Yes.
Because I think what you just said is so important. There's this, I think it's Seth Godin, it's like people don't share about products or services, they share about experiences.
Yes.
And I can't imagine many women would walk away from an experience of having their hair and makeup done by Melissa, and the first thing they would say would be like, oh, I looked great. Like, yes, they look great, but oh my God, I felt so at ease. I felt so comfortable. She just made me feel so confident. I looked amazing. It's like, it's so much more than just like, she picked the right lipstick out for me.
Yeah.
And people don't share with their friends about that.
Yes.
They share about how they felt.
Yes.
And that, I think, is such a big piece of the brand.
Yeah, and that's what I've always like tried to provide, like with my client experience, and then like just to become known for is how I take care of my clients and how I make them feel. It's just so important to me.
So, girl, I think I'm curious, since we're talking branding, how do you communicate that in your branding, that's what you do?
Yeah, so for me, like branding, I think Jasmine Starr said this, branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And so I've always
really good. I love that
too.
That is great.
And that's always what I was trying to do, and kind of at first it started unconsciously, but thinking about like, what do I want my clients to, what do I want to be known for, and what do I want people to think about when they think about me?
Yes.
So that's like been a huge part of my branding, and it was kind of by accident that I discovered it. So I would hear over and over that people would say like, oh, you made me look like the best version of myself. You made me feel like the best version of myself. And I look like me, but better. And also I would hear like, oh, I feel so calm in your presence. I was so nervous and you made me feel like so calm and taken care of. And I loved that. And so those were like mainly the two things that people would share about me. And I was like, oh, that's my branding. That's what I'm known for. So I communicate that with everything, like with the photos that I show. So like all the photos like on my portfolio and my social media are of women that have like very like natural looking makeup, so it looks like them but just like elevated. And then those are also the type of clients that I want to work with, and I want clients that really appreciate that, where I'm not trying to make them look like someone else but just make them look like them but better. So that's been a huge part of like my branding, and communicating that has been like really important to me.
And so when you think about, because I think it's so interesting to have this conversation about branding, because what, like, some people think of branding as like the website and
the colors, the fonts,
exactly.
and all of that.
And so I really love that what we've dove so quickly into is the branding being about the full experience of how people feel in relationship to you. And I always tell my clients when we're talking about their brand, when we're planning their photo shoot, like I say, it's so easy for us to just like X out the words your brand and replace it with you. Like it's essentially you. Like what do you stand for? What do you like, what's important to you? What, like, how do you want people to feel when they interact with you? Especially when I think you and I both work with a lot of personal brands. So it's it is that versus working with Nike or somewhat, you know, which is
a big corporation, where they're not the face of their brand, but like all of our clients, most of them are the face of their brands. We are the face of our brand. So knowing that distinction is like really important.
And so when you started discovering that, that's what you were famous for.
That's what I became known for. And so once I had that like nailed, then it was just, marketing became so easy. Like, so people were just like, come to me. I would get referrals, and I almost felt like I didn't have to do that much work, because that was just people would know like, oh, I have a natural client, like let me refer them to Melissa. You know, I would get referrals from people I didn't even know, like photographers I heard that you do really natural looking makeup, and my client is afraid of having her makeup done, so I'm sending her to you. So it just became what I was known for and what I attracted, and it just made like finding my ideal clients or my dream clients so much easier.
I love this, because that's what I will always tell clients when I'm working with you is Melissa does a lot of makeup, no makeup look.
It's a lot of layers, but it looks
a lot of layers. It looks like you, but that's the thing is like, for somebody who doesn't wear a lot of makeup, you're sitting there and it's like, it's going to take an hour. It seems so crazy. And there's all this going on. And then you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I can't even tell what you did, but it looks awesome. Like, and it is that. And I think that it's so important to distinguish the difference, that it's this masterful, professional, clean, very pro-looking photo makeup, but that actually doesn't look like much. It's not that there isn't much going on, but there is like just precision and skill, mastery.
And where you notice your client rather than their makeup.
Exactly. And like everything, like the eyes look bright, the skin looks luminous, like they just look like they are feeling vibrant and happy and alive.
And usually like after they've had their hair and makeup done, they do feel like that. So even if they were coming in super nervous, just having that calming experience and feeling that they look amazing just makes, I would imagine, your job a lot easier.
Totally. It totally does. It's a non-negotiable. I mean, for me, I think when I first started doing personal brand photography, probably like the first 5 or 6 shoots, I would recommend people get an artist. I wouldn't necessarily include one. And then I started doing these much longer days, and people would sometimes hire an artist and then schedule them to come, but they'd come early in the day, and then we wouldn't start until maybe an hour after the hair and makeup artist left. And by the time I got there, it almost looked like their makeup was starting to melt or run in the hair. And it was like they had invested in having someone come to them and do their hair and makeup, but because they didn't stick around, it didn't impact the shoot is positively.
Yes.
And so not only did they just not look fresh, but they felt they were missing the confidence.
Yes.
And so, you know, for me, it became a non-negotiable within like maybe the first 6 months of me doing this kind of work, that I would always hire a makeup artist to be there all day.
Yeah.
Because we both know, I mean, you walk out and there's like one stiff gust of wind and like, you know, or you...
It's 90 degrees.
Right. Or like today, the client we work with is like, we stopped and had a little bit of food and like she blew her nose once and suddenly it's like there's red. It's just all those little things that make... And that the client doesn't even need to think about it.
Yeah.
And they don't need to worry about it. And nor do they have the experience of getting their photos back 2 weeks later and think like, oh my God, my eye makeup was totally running.
Yeah.
And I wasn't noticing it. And even if I did, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know? So having somebody there the whole time is so non-negotiable. I know we've gotten off the marketing and branding
that's a
conversation.
part of your like marketing and your branding that like really sets you apart, I think, from other like photographers and photo shoots. And I've worked with so many photographers and they're all amazing, but I always tell like people when they have a personal branding shoot, like, you have to do it with Wendy. It's the most amazing experience.
Yes.
And she just really takes care of you, thinks of everything, and you don't have to think of anything.
Yes.
It's like, you don't have to do any work. Like, Wendy is going to take care of you. And I think that's so important when they want to invest in personal branding photography.
Yes.
Like, they don't want to have to think about all the things.
Totally. And like there's a couple of things that they just shouldn't think about. Like they shouldn't have to think like a photographer. Like they shouldn't have to figure out where they're gonna, what locations.
Yes.
Because you just can't. You can't know what it's gonna look like as photos. You can have great taste, but if you don't understand lighting and how photography works, it's just like you can't choose that. And the other thing that I notice is what's so important to me is that my clients in their photos look natural and connected and present.
Yes.
And it's so hard to do that when you're worrying about, like, is my makeup looking okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Or did I bring the right outfit for this?
Yes.
Or, like, is that next location going to even be open? Like, if you're thinking and distracted by the logistics of the day, you can't ever really just relax into the experience. And so much of the design is really so that I get great results.
Yes.
You know, it's like...
And you do, because your clients come back to you over and over for multiple photo shoots, which is amazing.
Yes. Yes. And the more I work with them, the easier it is.
Yeah.
Like, the more it just feels natural, it feels comfortable, the more variety we're able to get. I mean, it's, that's one of my favorite things, is having those multiple clients. You and I have had a couple of multiple clients together. Roseanne.
Yes, Roseanne. Hi, Roseanne, if you're watching.
Oh, such a dream client.
Yes, we've had so many dream clients together.
Girl.
And I love that, like, working with you has really introduced me to like just working with women entrepreneurs, like and that was like my love. Like I just realized like how much I love working with women entrepreneurs, and also that a lot of your clients like don't wear a lot of makeup, and it just works out for me because I mean I don't wear a lot of makeup normally either, which is kind of weird for a makeup artist, but I just found like that's like my magic is like my superpower is working with women that don't wear a lot of makeup and making them feel comfortable about wearing makeup and still looking like themselves. But, like, amazing.
Totally. I can't tell you how many clients I work with whose like makeup routine is like lotion and chapstick. Exactly what I was gonna say. Lotion and then Vaseline.
Yes.
And so, like, for them, it's really like they want to look like themselves.
Yeah.
But they also know it's a special occasion and they want to feel polished.
Yeah.
And so and you do such a beautiful job of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Really making them
that.
feel. It is exactly what you just described, which is like an elevated version of themselves. Yeah. What was the first thing you said? It wasn't like them but better, but there was something else you said.
The best version of themselves. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And I've had my makeup done, my hair, the same thing. Like I never wear makeup. And I hardly ever wear eye makeup. And occasionally I'll put it on myself and I'll be like, I look so ridiculous. And I've had Melissa do my makeup and she'll do eye, and I'm like, oh, I look really beautiful, you know?
I know, I loved those photos. We were just talking earlier. We did a photo shoot in Paris, like 6 years ago or something, and I'm still using those photos because I love them so much. And I did her makeup, and I took some photos of her, and I every time you post them, I love them.
Oh my God, I love those photos.
It's just a little makeup, but it just, I don't know, like it made your eyes pop, and it just like, it was you, but it was just, it was Paris Wendy.
Totally. And it's so rare. Like, I so rarely look at myself with makeup and think anything other than like, I look crazy, you know? But because I'm not used to it. So it was so beautiful. That was such a joy to get to experience that.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I'd love to hear more from you just about like how like you crafted your branding or like how it's helped the success of your business.
Yeah, it's so I love that we're asking this question, and I think it is very similar to what you described, which is for me it really is about having people feel what it's like to interact with me in real life. Yeah. And you know, when I think about what my brand stands for, it's like the things that I want my brand to stand for are generosity, enthusiasm, presence. Like I want people to walk away from interacting with me having felt those things. And they do. And so how it's like I want every email, you know, every Facebook post, every time somebody visits my website, I want them to feel that. Like I want them to feel like they're having a real moment with me, which is what we do with the photos. Really, it's like the same thing. We want the viewer to feel like they're sharing a real moment. So you know, for me, branding really like it is about how do I communicate what you know, IRL Wendy Yalom experiences virtually. And of course then it's like I love to play with fonts and those things, but like those aren't really the heart. They just add a level of consistency. Like I know for me, it's like things like fonts and when I think about like brand colors for us, it's always just complements the photos because there's such vibrancy in the photos. I'm sure you experience that too. Like it's just white and black, really clean, and then it's all about the photos. But there is this level of consistency if we were to think about it just in terms of, you know, what fonts I choose. But other than that, that's really it for me. It's how to communicate what the experience is like.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you do such a good job of that too. Like I feel like when even if I'm like not on that shoot, like when I see the photos, I'm like, oh, I can tell exactly like what it was like.
You're like, I know, I can feel, I can imagine what was said in that moment.
And I can also feel like I like kind of almost like know that client, like what they're like trying to express and communicate. So I really get a sense of that with your photos.
Oh, thank you. I love that. I hear this so often. And one of the things I love that I hear from clients is that they look at my photos and they just assume everybody in them is so comfortable in front of the camera, feels so natural in front of the camera.
Just like they do it all the time.
Exactly, which is not the case. And it's like that you just feel their genuine joy is what's so important to me. And so I think that's it too. It's like I want people to feel genuinely connected, joyful, beautiful in the experience of our working together. So I want all of my branding to have them have that experience and celebrate it.
Yes.
I
Like,
feel like that's...
they do feel like they're celebrating themselves and their businesses. So I love that.
Yeah, and it's an investment. And it's like, I want to honor the fact that like, not only an investment of just a financial investment and a time investment, but it's an emotional investment. And so going through that, I feel lucky.
I know, me too.
I don't know. What else do you have to say about branding? I do have a couple of questions I remembered that one of my people asked about makeup artists.
Oh, yeah.
Do you mind if I bring them up?
Yeah.
Let me pull them up because I promised her I would ask.
Oh, yes.
And I am just now remembering it's going to take a minute for me to get online.
And if you're watching this and you have questions, like go ahead and type them into the chat and we will get back to you.
Yes.
If it's a question for Wendy, I know we're on my page, you can tag her and she'll like come back.
Definitely. You guys will have to bear with me. My Wi-Fi has been a little bit... There we go. Let's find them. All right. So Melissa, I think it was April. Let me find it. Okay, here we go. Okay. So, oh no, Yvette. Yvette had a couple of questions. Okay. So her questions were, how long should a makeup artist stay after finishing with a client? These are, let me read them first.
Yeah.
How much can someone expect to be charged to have a makeup artist on set for a half day or full day? Great questions. If you are on set for the direction of a shoot, can the photographer ask you to hold a reflector and help out? I'm so glad she asked that. Yeah. If you're not on set, what are the main items a photographer should have on hand, hairspray, etc.?
Okay.
Super great questions.
Okay, yes, all really good questions.
Yeah.
How long should a makeup artist stay? I mean, if I would I prefer to stay the whole time. Like I know Wendy does too. I just think it's so important because you just don't know like if something's gonna fall or smear or needs to be touched up and get shiny. Like if they can stay the whole shoot, like I would just try to incorporate that in your shoot. It's just the results are just going to be so much better.
100%. I totally agree with that. I think it can be if you can work it out to have a great makeup artist that you've got some kind of a relationship with, who you work with frequently, having them for the whole day is such a game changer because they're not only able to touch things up, but they're paying attention to the stuff that maybe I don't always pay attention to.
Yeah.
And like that there's a hair blowing or that there's, an eyelash being weird or that the lips are looking smeared. I mean, there's just so many things that I think a great makeup artist is there with their attention as much as their...
and then it allows you to focus on just taking a great picture.
For sure. And if something needs to be fixed, I'm not saying to the client, like, can you go to the bathroom and just check that out and have them try and feel like responsible to fix it.
Exactly. It's more efficient time-wise too.
Exactly.
And feels better for the client to know that they're taken care of and they don't have to worry.
Totally. So I highly recommend having them there for the whole time, for sure. How much can someone expect to be charged to have a hair and makeup artist instead? So, or for a full or half day?
It's a tough one because it's going to depend on your area. So
exactly.
Like we're in San Francisco, so like when I tell people my rates, they're like,
for sure.
Yeah. So if you're in the Midwest, it's gonna be different. So I really hesitate to answer that because I would say like maybe in your area, like get some quotes from makeup artists and then see like what feels doable for you with what you're charging and a rate that is gonna make them feel good.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna ask you about this because I know we did this thing. So one of the things that I think is great for an artist who works consistently with the same person is they're willing to be a little bit negotiable on the rate because Melissa doesn't have to sell to a client. Right. She doesn't have to have the conversation. She just knows like she's going to show up. She knows she's going to get her job. Like it's easier for her in some ways to work with me, multiple times than working with. So she is going to be open to maybe offering me a different rate.
Yes.
Because she's not having to do that additional work.
Yeah. And because I know that I work with you consistently, it makes it easier for me rather than like just working with someone one off. Then of course I'm not going to be as willing to negotiate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you know like you're going to have like 30 shoots with me in a year, it's like, so I would say finding someone great who you can find that kind of a relationship with, or if you're still struggling, like if you're still working out the prices, and I think, are you in the masterclass? I think you are. If you are, we'll go more into this. But the other thing I think can really be great is if you are in a place where you want to empower your clients to hire their own photographers, what you could do is say, I've negotiated this special rate with this person. If you go to them, you get $50 off or whatever. And so I think there's some opportunity, but just like Melissa said, like I work with people all over. I've been charged $350. I've been charged $1,200. It really just depends on where they are. All those things.
The other thing I will say too is makeup artists appreciate getting paid right away.
Yes.
So that is one of the other things. I get paid right away with Wendy, and if I were to do like a commercial shoot, I would have to wait 30 days to get paid.
Yes.
So that also gets taken into consideration like when I'm going to get paid.
That's actually one thing we do with our artists is like we have them invoice us, like they can invoice us the day of the shoot and they will get paid as soon as Kiki sees that email. It happens immediately within 12 hours of getting their invoice, if not 10 minutes. And so that's actually an important thing. I love that you brought that up because when you are doing commercials like net 30 so I would recommend that. I think find somebody you love and then work out a
Hopefully
special.
that answers your question.
Yes. Okay, let's see. I love that you asked about having a person help out in photography, and I think that this is something that happens a lot with photographers, and I'm not sure I've ever tried to. I maybe have asked you to hold a reflector.
You might have like maybe
times.
once or twice. Yeah.
But it's so important to not put the hair and makeup artist in a role of being a surrogate assistant.
Yes.
Because it's really easy to think that they're just there on set and why not? But that's not what you're paying them for.
Yeah.
You're paying them for their expertise as a makeup artist. You're paying them to pay attention to the hair and makeup.
Yes.
The minute that they are holding that thing, the last thing they're going to do is put it down and go fix it. Like, they can't even see what's going on.
I can't see. I'm like not even thinking about hair and makeup. I'm
Totally.
thinking about, am I holding this in the right place? So,
I mean, there are, like, when you say, can they help out? I mean, there are little things like today it was like, I asked Melissa to walk across the street to order something for us and grab a table. I mean, things like that. Yes. But anything that requires some kind of, especially the reflector thing is the one that I think people do a lot. And also, honestly, hair and makeup artists don't quite know what they're doing with the reflector.
We don't.
So then you're having to teach them, and they're not. It's for sure. Let that one go. Right. Okay. If you're not, what are the main items of photography you have on hand?
I would say like having some kind of translucent powder, like blot powder, like a couple different colors. Like some of them are translucent, but I would have, they're not great for darker skin. So I would have like a range. And then like having like maybe a couple combs or brushes, hairspray, maybe some dry shampoo. I think, everything else, like you're not, like you shouldn't have a whole makeup kit. Like you shouldn't feel like you have to have that.
For sure. And you can have like, I mean, I would say, you can kind of, I think what you named is exactly it. Like when I used to do, when I used to do wedding photography and I was like do engagement shoots or even like way in the day I used to do like, sometimes I do headshots. I'd have exactly that. I'd have a couple of different colors of just a translucent powder
just to take care of shine.
Take care of shine. Comb,
maybe
brush,
like a couple like makeup sponges, so that way you're not watching brushes. You're just like, here's a sponge, let's just blot you. Super easy, throw it
and
away.
blotting sheets, I think.
And blotting sheets, yes, those are also really good too to take care of shine. That's probably the number one thing is shine.
Exactly, and that's all you really need in your kit is something you just take, because you don't want to have to deal with like adding color or anything. It's just really
because then you're becoming the makeup artist, and you don't want to go there unless you do. Then I mean that could be fun for you.
Yes, but that's a whole nother job. That's a whole other job. I think that's it. Those are our 4 questions.
Yay! So
Amazing.
Wendy, what do you have coming up? You have your master
I
class.
have my master class coming up. I have my master class coming up for photographers. If there are my photogs who are in here, I love you all. Thank you for watching. And photographers who don't know me, you can find. I've got it
from Wendy. She's the best. If you want to do personal branding, you need to learn from Wendy.
Thanks, girl. Oh my God, thank you. Yes, I have a whole Facebook group. I would love to have you join. You can search
the link
below. And then I've got a masterclass, a virtual masterclass. We're half full. It starts in September, and it is the art and business of personal brand photography. You can find it at personalbrandphotography.school, and it's going to be epic. I can't wait.
I'm so glad you're doing this.
I am so glad. I love just giving
away
all my information.
Yeah, and you have so much to give. So
thank you. Yeah, I'm ready to pass the baton. Pass the torch. I was gonna say pass the buck, but it's not that. Awesome.
And then makeup artists, I still have room for a few more one-on-one clients. We're starting this month, end of this month and next month. And I still have a few, hello.
Hi, Maria.
I still have a few free business audits available. So if you want a spot for those, I'm going to put the link in the comments and you can sign up. Hello, Maria. So I only have a few spots left. So you definitely want to get in on that.
Yeah.
And so that's what we have going on. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
We're here. We love you.
Yes. Mwah. Bye.
Maria, wish you were here.
I know. Bye, Maria. Thanks for being here.